Well, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to generate RSS feeds for each of the directories that you specify on your server so that users can subscribe to your directories and monitor, get notices in their feed readers when new files have been added. So to start with, we're going to go to our new RSS Feeds tab. And the first thing we need to do is set a feed storage directory. And this is where all the XML files for your RSS feeds are going to be stored. Each of your directories that you want to monitor is going to generate an RSS feed XML file, and it's going to store it in the directory you specify here. Now, all of these directories are relative to your root, your site root, your domain root. So if your WordPress install directory is in a subdirectory of your site root, then all of these directories for the RSS feeds are relative to your site root. So if you are installed in a subdirectory called WordPress and you want it to be in that directory, you need to specify WordPress for this. Okay, but I don't want it to be in my WordPress installation directory. I want it to be in the outermost, so it's easy for the URL when they go to that feed. So I'm just going to create a directory called RSS. Now, if the directory doesn't already exist, the first time it generates your feeds, it will create this storage directory for you. Okay, so I'm going to create one called RSS. And now we want to specify our monitored directories. Okay, now the monitored directories are going to generate feeds for each directory recursively in the base directory that you specify, and you can add unlimited. Okay, so I'm going to add 2. So I'm going to go Files, and it's going to monitor all directories recursively within the Files directory, including the Files directory itself. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this from my base here. I want to do S2 member files. I want to do an RSS feed for my S2 member files directory. Okay, and so there we go. Plugins, S2 member files. So we're going to be monitoring these 2 directories. Okay. Now, you can also exclude subdirectories. Now, excluded subdirectories, you don't have to put it in here if it's not one of the subdirectories of one of your monitored directories. So if it's outside of the files directory or outside of the S2 member files directory, you don't need to exclude it. It won't be monitored if it's not monitored here. But if you have subdirectories here that you don't want in here that you don't want monitored, then you would add it here. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. You can also exclude specific files, and we'll get to that. But I want to point this out. You have your auto feed updates, and so this is going to happen at the frequency that you specify. The default is every hour, but you can change it. Just note that if you have lots and lots of files, running it every 15 minutes, is not recommended, because it's going to be a constant process that your server is running. It's not going to take 15 minutes to run the script, even if you have thousands and thousands of files, but you probably want to, have a little bit of a longer interval in your updates. But if you have manual feed updates set to update feeds on save, then it's going to generate the feeds every time you click Save Changes anywhere on the File Away settings page. Okay? So if you want to refresh your feeds, all you got to do is come here and press Save Changes from any tab. So when I press Save Changes now, it's going to it's going to create the RSS storage directory, and it's going to generate feeds for all the subdirectories and files and all the subdirectories in my S2 member files directory. Okay, so let's do that right now. Save changes. Okay, so let's come here to this table, and as you can see, here's the files directory. and these are the subdirectories in my files directory. Okay, so we have stuff in there, but we don't have any RSS feeds. Now you'll notice in my shortcodes that I've added show RSS equals true, but there's nothing showing there because they didn't exist a few moments ago. So now I'm going to refresh this page. And there we go. Our RSS feeds are found, and there's links to the RSS feeds. If you have a directory tree nav table, there's links to them under each drawer icon, and there's a link to the main directory here for the RSS feed. And on my S2 member files as well, there's the link. And now you'll notice this was empty a moment ago, and it didn't exist. But here's my RSS storage directory. Now I don't recommend you having this in a file away table because you don't want to change these, but I have it up here to show you what it looks like on your server. So here's the XML files that it generated for each of my subdirectories. So what we did was we have S2 member files this is actually pointed to the audio subdirectory of S2 member files. So that's two feeds, the S2 member files parent and the audio child. And then here we have files parent, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. Okay? So that's 6 and 2 is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those are 8 feeds. Okay? Now these are just the XML files, but if you want to see what it looks like, let's go over to Firefox because they have a better feed reader. Well, Chrome doesn't actually have one. So we're going to go to Firefox and we're going to look at these. Now if we go to the files, it's not going to have anything because there's no actual files in there. But if we go to audio and click on the RSS icon, then there's our feed that we just generated. Then we click Save Changes. So as you can see, we have our different audio files. Now you'll notice also, let me go to the audio directory here, that on the feed, let me zoom in so you can see it a bit better. You have these descriptions here, and it says, "Am I afraid?" in the priesthood non-substantiation. Alright? Where's that coming from? Because it's not in the file name. Well, it actually is in the file name. It's file away custom data in the square brackets as you're used to using file away custom data. So the file away custom data will go into the description field on the feed. Okay? As well as the type of file and the size of the file. If it is an audio or a video file or an image file, it will also go into a media files enclosure. Okay, so that's basically how that works. Now let's play around with it a little bit. Alright, I'm going to zero this out in my zoom. Okay, so now what we want to do is, this is all nice and everything, but we want to add a logo to our feeds. So what we're going to do, the way you do this is we want to add the logo to our primary storage directory. Okay? Our primary storage directory is the RSS directory that we created. So we're going to add a file to it, and what we want to do is add this one right here. It's got to be called fa-feed-logo, and it can be a JPEG, a PNG, or a GIF. And we're going to upload it. Okay, so that's been uploaded to this directory. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here and I'm going to press Save Changes again, and that's going to refresh, it's going to update our feeds. And so now when I come back here to Firefox and look at our feed and reload it, there's our logo image in our feeds. Okay? Now, let me show you a couple more tricks. Let's say, I'll show you that if we have a PNG file, PNG is going to take priority over JPEG. They have to be the same name, but if it's a PNG, the order of priority is PNG, JPEG, and then GIF. So we're going to refresh the feeds again and go back to our feed and refresh it, and there we go, there's our new logo, which is a PNG, taking priority over the JPEG. Now, let me point out that putting the image in the storage directory, okay, is going to make it the default logo for all your feeds. So if we go into, if we take a look at this one, this is audio. If we go back, and if we take a look at the videos, oh, I clicked on the RSS. So there it is, there's the default. But I don't want the logo for my videos feed to be this image. I want it to be the image of my production company. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to navigate to my videos folder, alright, and I'm going to upload a different file for that purpose. So I'm going to upload, this is called FF Feed Logos Videos but we need to change the name to FF Feed Logo. So we're going to do that before we upload it. It needs to be called FA-Feed-Logo, and I'm going to file that up. Okay? And so now we're going to refresh our feed again. Just click on Save Changes. Okay? And now we're going to come to our videos and hit reload. And there we go. There's our logo for our videos feed. But if we go to audio, it's going to remain the same, our default from our storage directory. So if you put the FA feed logo in your storage directory, it will be the default image for all your feeds. If you upload a different file of the same name to any specific feeds directory, then that will be the logo for that feed. Okay? Now let's do some filtering. Okay, so by default, INI and HTML, well by default, let me see, PHP and INI are excluded. But let's say we want to exclude M4V files. There we see we have one called keys M4V, and it's not really playable in the browser. So because we're persnickety, we want to exclude that. So we're going to put, oh, I put that in the wrong field. We're going to put M4V here in the excluded file extensions and save changes. And we're going to come back here and reload the feed. And there it is, it's gone now. The keys video is gone. Now let's exclude MP4s as well, just for the sake of it. So comma MP4, it's a comma separated list as usual. And so now let's go back to our feed and reload it, and now we have a bunch fewer files in there. If I delete these from here and save changes, they're back. Okay? Now you can also filter stuff out by a string. Now this is going to be a case-sensitive string that is going to be anywhere in your file name. Okay? So what we want to do is, let's filter out note to self. Okay? So we're going to look for, I wonder if that's got an underscore on it. I think it does have an underscore on it. Yeah, it does. So we're going to filter out note to self. It needs to be case sensitive. Save changes. And this is also a comma separated list of excluded strings. So let's go back to our feed and reload, and it's gone. Okay? Now you can also limit your feeds, the number of files that show up in the feed. By default, it will be all files in the directory every time. But if you want to limit it it'll be limited by the most recent and the number that we set. So let's limit it to 2, which is ridiculous, but let's do it. And this is universal for all feeds. And refresh. And there we've got the most recent 2. Okay? Alright. Leaving it blank makes it unlimited. Okay, now let's look at our excluded subdirectories. Okay, so if we go back here and go to our feeds here, let's go back to the files parent. And as you can see, we have a docs feed that has some documents in it. But we don't want to monitor the docs feed. We want to monitor audio, images, PDFs, and videos, but not docs. So what we're going to do is we're going to add, we have to be the full path, files, docs, save, let's reload this. Oops, that feed's gone. Okay, so and if we refresh this page, you'll see that the docs no longer has an RSS link because it doesn't exist. So it's as simple as that. Now, if you created a monitored directory by mistake and you don't want it to monitor anymore, then all you got to do is add that whole monitored directory to your excluded subdirectories. Okay? And I think you might also have to, let's try it without leaving it in the monitored directories. I think you also have to leave it in the monitored directories first time you do it. Yeah, you do. So what we're going to do is we're going to add it back here. So we're going to leave it in monitored, and we're going to add it to excluded, and press save. And now we're going to reload. And all the RSS feeds have been removed. Okay? And now, once we've done that, we can go ahead and delete it from both. We can remove it from both. And it'll be fine. Okay? So that's how you would get rid of a whole monitored directory, is you would add it to the sub while it's still in the monitored and save, and then you can remove it from both. Now, let's add this back. We'll add back files docs to our excluded because I don't want that monitored. Save. And reload. There we go. Okay, our feeds are back. Now, we deleted the feeds. So, doesn't that mean that the feed URLs have changed? Let's refresh this and find out. Nope, the feed URL has remained the same. And I'll show you why. Because the feed URL is not based on the name of the folder or the location of the folder. The feed URL is based on a little file that's created when the feeds are generated, and it's created the first time a feed is generated. Okay? And it's never created again. And it's a little INI file that goes in each directory that's monitored. Okay? You won't be able to see it on your file away tables. But it's a little INI file, and it has the ID number that you see here. And that ID number tells it which feed to create or update in the storage directory. So if we go over to my FTP here and look in audio, you'll see the file right here, fa.feed.id.ini. Okay? And that little file contains the, let's download this to the desktop and open it with notepad, ID equals da 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 da. So there you go. And so that's how it knows what feed to update. So you can move the directory, you can rename the directory, as long as you don't touch this file in the directory, your feed location for your subscribers will always be the same. And one other thing to point out about that is you don't ever want to change your feed storage directory. If you change it and then realize what you've done, you can change it back and your subscribers won't be affected. But you want to keep your feed storage directory the same forever, so that you don't have to deal with subscribers having to resubscribe to all their feeds. Okay, and of course for each of these you have your info links if you have questions. You can add as many excluded subdirectories as you want. You can add as many monitored directories as you want. If they're blank when they're saved, and we refresh the page, they will be gone. It only saves ones that have actual content in it. And I'm trying to think if there's anything more that you need to know, but that's pretty much the sum of it. Oh yeah, let's look at the S2 member files real quick. So let's go back here. We'll scroll down to our S2 member files, and we're going to click on this. Now, because this is an S2 member files, okay, the links that are generated are not direct URLs to the files. They are S2 member file secure links. So if I click on this, it's going to download it, but only because I'm logged into the site. If I log out of the site, let me log out real quick. I don't think I have to refresh this, but let's do it. I'm going to log out of the site and now click on it, and it's going to direct me to the membership page. Okay, so if you have S2 member files activated and you have your feed pointing to an S2 member file, to the S2 member files directory, all right, you can specify the sub on your file away table, subdirectory. Then the links that are generated will be the secure S2 member files links in your feeds. So that's all there is to it. I hope you've learned something, and I hope you enjoy your RSS monitoring system courtesy of FileAway.